bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. 'Cause I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. I'm through crying and I'm through waiting. I'm through hoping I can't stop hoping. I'm through longing for something gone that'll never return. I think I finally learned to bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. 'Cause I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. I'm through grieving and I'm through dreaming that the life I had is ever coming back. No more wishing on someone else's side that'll never be mine. I think it's time to bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. I've survived many times before, some broken hearts and slamming doors. I'll be alright, yes I will, once more. Just as I did back then, I'm gonna rise again. So bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything.
Yes, Daniel Maymont, everything new. And thank you, Grayson, with your brand new guitar.
Ooh.
How lovely. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Morristown, whether you're here in person, which is always lovely, because there's something very different, right? Go ahead. When we are in the presence of one another, but also, of course, a grand welcome to anyone online. And that means that you might be witnessing us right now, live stream today. We're have some changes with our live streaming. And maybe anytime in the future, who knows, it might be after we're all gone that somebody's watching this and saying, wow, what a cool teaching, because we are part of an organization, Centers for Spiritual Living, and that is an organization that's about 100 years old, even though it's changed names. It was founded by Dr. Ernest Holmes, who is the founder of our Science of Mind teaching. And today we dive into a new theme for February, which is curiosity as a superpower. So those of you that have the little journal, which is so fun for me, the topics aren't always the same, but the theme for the year, Living Out Loud, and for the monthly themes are the same. And what I love about it is that you can bring this to take some notes, to set some intentions, and the beauty is that we have some left for sale. So they're for sale today, as is the Science of Mind magazine for February with Cynthia James on the front. She's lovely. So Laurie Carlson is assisting today as our licensed practitioner. And she's doing the Treatment Express. Those of you that say, what the heck is the Treatment Express? It is after celebration. It's a quick experience of spiritual mind treatment, which is our word for affirmative prayer. If you need more, you'll have to make an appointment with any of our practitioners or ministers who will be happy to support you and assist you. And of course, we have the music with Grayson Nierenberg. It's always wonderful to have live music. So today, my topic is things that make us go, And it's about really allowing ourselves to think a little bit deeper about things, to realize that there is so much to be curious about, especially the human experience, right? And then we will explore how we can make curiosity our own superpower and why that is important. So those of you that are online, we are on YouTube, hopefully today. We are on Facebook Live, we are on Twitter, and we're going to add some different platforms because eCam, which we use, has done an update, and now there's 10 platforms that we can stream to. I didn't even know there were 10. So very cool, right? My name is Frankie Timmers. I'm the spiritual director here at the center. And if you are online, please feel free to respond, ask questions, make comments, have requests, use any kind of thumbs or bubbles, just so that we know you're there and that you're connected to us. So what we are about here at the center is transforming lives through the science, mind, philosophy, way of life, and faith. And our mission is providing spiritual inspiration to individuals that lift each one to transform their lives in ways that create a world that works for everyone. And so that's a big call, right? Let's do our greeting now that we've all feel welcome to come and be together. And the way we greet one another is through our namaste practice. Namaste is the Sanskrit word for the divinity in me. Bless is the divinity in you. So today, be aware that you're not just giving that blessing, but you're also receiving it. So put your hands together and just give a bow to somebody or somebody's namaste. And let's do a spiritual mind treatment, which is our word for affirmative prayer. So in this very moment, as we become fully present and allow ourselves to be open and receptive, mind, heart, body, and soul, we realize that we're always given this beautiful opportunity to remember our essential nature, which we are here to express. And so we trust and know that blessings are at hand, that inspiration is being received, that clarity is the word of the day as we open ourselves to the experience of deeper curiosity, of a willingness to ask the questions that support us. Not just ask questions that come from the old beliefs of feeling not enough. And so we trust that these blessings fill us and fuel us today as Lori does her spiritual guided practice and Grayson shares this music and I share my own understanding of this teaching in relationship to curiosity, and we just let go of whatever is in the way. Whether we're conscious of it or not, we can simply decide to let go of whatever is in the way, and that becomes then the celebration. And for that and so much more, we are grateful. And so it is. So it is. So, Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of our teaching, who who passed on in 1960 and was not just the founder of our Science of Mind teaching, but he was deeply curious. He studied all the different world religions. He was able to memorize and recite many things, including Emerson's essays. He was known when he was a teenager with the nickname, the Eternal Question Mark. You know, we might have been named that when we were 2 or 3. Why, Mommy? Why, Daddy? Why? But he continued that experience into his teenage years, and to the point that his relatives were annoyed with him. And so, if you think about that, then you realize that that questioning, that level of curiosity is what ended up creating this beautiful Science of Mind teaching, which is under the umbrella of New Thought. And it's not really New Thought, it's really ancient wisdom from all the different sources distilled into a very practical teaching. Most of you know that, because you've been here for a while. Those of you that are new to this, you know it as well, because in a way it's just common sense. To me, it's become common sense. And so I am so excited to relate to Ernest Holmes in that way, because I'm pretty sure I was annoying as a teenager as well. I'm probably still annoying, because I still always want to know why, what, when, where. You know, for example, this last week was a huge week when it comes to things happening in the world. And they are historic. Many of you may have seen on Facebook that there are messages saying Happy St. Bridget's Day or Happy Imbolc, which is one of the oldest Gaelic holidays on the planet and are still celebrated. Imbolc means in the belly. It's kind of like thinking about how the tall tulip bulbs underneath the ground are starting to wiggle a little bit. They're starting to come alive because we're exactly midwinter, between winter and the spring equinox. And the Gaelic people celebrated that. And then there is Groundhog Day. That's only been around since the late 1880s. And most of us know that from the movie, right? But it's also a kind of a fun tradition that I realize is meaningless, because either way, whether he sees his shadow or not, we're going to have a few more weeks of winter. Hence, the freeze that we just had that hasn't happened in 5 years, right? And then there is the beauty of Black History Month, which was started in 1926 by a man named Carter G. Woodson. At that time, he was in Washington, D.C., and it was called Negro Week. We've stretched a tiny bit in those 100 and some years from week to month. But there are many beautiful gifts and blessings that we received. He's not very well known, but he was the second person to receive a PhD at Harvard after W.E.B. Du Bois. And so that has developed and expanded in such a way that we're all aware of it in some way, shape, or form. And it's an opportunity to be more curious about a people and their history. And then there's Candlemas. Candlemas was started to be celebrated only in 1984, but it's been around since the beginning of Christianity, over 2,000 years old. It was, according to Jewish law, when a woman gave birth, she had to spend 40 days in the quiet, and then she would go to the temple for a purification ritual. In this case, the Virgin Mary went through that in the temple in Jerusalem, but it was also the time when she presented her baby, Jesus, as we know him today, of course. And so that is the celebration in the Christian faith of Candlemas. And then there is the season of nonviolence, which has been happening since 1998, and it lasts 64 days. I've been posting something every day, and I will continue to post every day, because every day has a message, an invitation, and a blessing. The season of nonviolence starts on the day of the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi, who was killed on January 30th, 1948, which is the first day of the season of nonviolence. It goes for 64 days until April 4th, which is the day that Martin Luther King was killed in 1968. Arun Gandhi, Gandhi's grandson, started this, and it was developed by Michael Beckwith from Agape and Mary Morrissey, who many of you know from the Prosperity Program. And so it is now a 64-day celebration, and I don't know about you, but it feels like it to me that there's more of a need for us to practice the principles of nonviolence, because it seems that we live in a world today where violence is around every corner. That's just an invitation for those of us who call ourselves spiritual beings or metaphysicians to practice at a deeper level. And so these are all things for me that say, how can I weave them together and personally make them part of my day-to-day experience and live them in the world? The beauty of that is it's different for each and every one of us, because none of us are the same. So we have to live in the question, what is mine to do? What is mine to give? What is mine to serve? So last week I shared that we want to ask the question, how? Because we explored the 4th chapter in the Science of Mind textbook, how to use it. And I said, get away from the question, why? Because the why question has too many answers, and we don't know which is the right one. I love this idea of paradox in the Science of Mind teaching, because today I'm saying, ask the question, why? Ask the question, why? We have to be discerning which why to ask, right? It's not so much why me, why is this happening to me from a place of a victim, which is our tendency. When something happens to us that's scary or challenging or painful, we tend to ask the question from that place of feeling victimized. But the question is to be asked from a place of curiosity, which at its root, etymology is another thing I'm always curious about. At the root, the word curiosity means profound care, deep care. It also means careful attention to detail, being diligent in our asking. So we want to ask the question from a place of really wanting to know the answer. When we ask the question from a victim, we don't really want to know the answer because we don't want to change. We want to be righteous about why we experience what we experience and why they are wrong or they were wrong. Instead, we ask a different question. And that different question is more about what is the invitation for growth and for healing. What wants to grow inside of me? What wants to shift and expand? What wants to be applied when it comes to infinite wisdom being available everywhere? When I teach meditation in prison, I often ask when somebody is confused and they don't know what to do or they don't know how to act or how to experience a deeper spiritual connection with themselves, I would say, if I asked you the question, what would you say to me? If I asked you for advice, and they always have a really good answer. And then I say, so apply that, right? Sometimes we just have to ask ourselves the kind of advice we would want to ask someone else, and then do that because the answer already lies within us. We're just not always willing to listen, right? Or willing to change. So how then do we apply the superpower of curiosity? Well, we realize that there's always more to know. There's always more to see. There's always more to be, more to be aware of, more to understand, more to experience. So we go for the more. What more wants to be lived? What more wants to be seen or experienced? And we use our life. We use our day-to-day living. In the Science of Mind magazine this month, oh my gosh, I love it so much. I love it every month, but this month I just love it. The daily messages are by Reverend Raymond Anderson, and he has this quote by Albert Einstein, who says the important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existence. One cannot help but be in awe when he or she contemplates the mysteries of eternity, of life, and of the marvelous structure of reality. So in a way, we are asked to have a different question. So whenever we have a challenge, right? So let's say that you have a diagnosis of a disease, or you have a relationship challenge, or you have a career challenge, or you have a financial challenge, which most of the time, or a lot of the time, when we have that challenge, what happens? How do you feel?
Fear.
Fear?
Stuck.
Stuck?
Anxious.
Desperate?
Anxious.
Anxious?
Discouraged.
Discouraged? Disappointment? That's the first reaction, right? We don't stop there. And we don't deny that. So it's interesting when you go, oh my, like, oh. And so you give yourself some time to worry, be afraid, to be anxious, to feel stuck, just to notice, just to feel it. But what happens a lot of time, we do everything we can to avoid it. Whether it's turn on the TV, your smartphone, drink, drug, run away, whatever it is that we do. We all have our top 3 somehow, right? And some of that's not even conscious. But instead, after we get over the initial shock, we go, oh, that is so interesting. What wants to be seen, known, heard, lived, expressed? A lot of times, the simplest answer is the opposite. So we ask ourselves, so what's the opposite of fear? Courage. What's the opposite of anxiety? Comfort. What's the opposite of stuckness? Flow, action. What's the opposite of despair?
Hope.
It's that simple. Really, it's that simple. We don't think it is because our human mind tends to limit. But it is. So we want to take that time to say, so that's what wants to be expressed. That's what wants to be lived. But what tends to happen is we get stuck. Do you know anyone, of course nobody here, that tends to tell the same story over and over again about some trauma in their life? Yeah. They're a mirror for us because we do it as well, some way, somehow. I mean, it's interesting, right, how we have the need to say, oh, you know, I was abused as a child, and I'm not minimizing that because I understand the trauma of that. But I also understand that this teaching heals us, period. So maybe you were neglected, maybe you were abused, maybe you were abandoned, maybe you were taught to never feel enough, maybe you were felt not worthy. All those things that we experienced or interpreted as a child are there for us to see the more of and ask ourselves, what is it that wants to be embodied and experienced and expressed? And that's the healing work that we do. That's why we do our spiritual practices. I'm not saying you cannot talk about those things, but have you noticed the more you talk about it, the worse you feel? The harder life seems to be. And so we find ways, shapes, and forms to feel that, to express that, to talk about it, but then to see what's on the other side. And that's what curiosity does, because it invites us to look at our core beliefs. If we walk around with a core belief that we're not enough, or that we're not worthy, you're going to be a magnet to prove that that is true. Have you noticed? I have. And so having had a life of feeling not good enough, that showed up everywhere until I healed it, right? And so we don't judge it, we just notice and go, there's got to be more to this. Let me think about this. Let me explore it. Let me use it. One of the things that I know for absolute sure is that our brokenness, which we all tend to experience as human beings, simply hides our wholeness. And we can choose to identify with the brokenness, or we can choose to identify with the wholeness. It truly is a choice. And being on the spiritual path, I know that we're here together today because we've chosen wholeness, finding ways to live that, to feel that, to experience that, to see that. And so, the more is to say, oh, let me get curious about my inherent wholeness. Because that's your true self. That's your true nature. You came in here into this world whole. You are whole, perfect, complete, exactly the way you are. It's your soul, it's your spirit, it's internal, it's your inherent nature. And we're given this life so that we can find ways to express that and to live that. So instead of fight, flight, or fight syndrome, we get to say, I'm already free. Nothing has to happen in order for me to be free, to express my internal, my essential wholeness. In a way, then we use our brokenness as a way to live our wholeness. Because what's in the way is the way. I finally ordered that book by Mary, I forget her last name. The title is powerful, right? And so how we do that is we zoom in and we zoom out. We zoom in and we zoom out. We zoom in and we zoom out. It's kind of like using a camera, right? This is my experience in the moment. I love myself in this experience no matter what it is. Now let me zoom out and see a bigger picture, a bigger self, a bigger awareness, a bigger life, a life of thriving, because we're not here just to survive. We're here to thrive, and that thriving life becomes a gift and a blessing to the world. And so the human experience isn't really a human experience. It's really a spiritual experience. You and I incarnated in this human experience because our soul said, I'm ready to evolve. I'm ready to learn a few new things. And I'm willing, and I'm able. And I have the energy, I have the life force for it. And the reason that we know is that we're here having a spiritual experience is because we are here to remember our true nature. We're here to realize that life is sacred, all life. And we're here to evolve. Not so much to devolve, because that's what seems to be happening, right? And so we're here to evolve because we learn and realize that everything in life is connected. So being curious then opens your mind. It opens your heart. It arrives you at a spiritual understanding, at seeing a new cause, a new possibility, a new way of being, a new understanding. It takes us to that place of remembering. Because we're not really here to learn anything new, we're just here to remember that we are pure spirit, and that within pure spirit is everything we need to live life in a thriving way. It's also not just about being curious, but then being of service with what we learn. And being of service in a way that's healthy and from a place of wholeness is much more powerful than if we serve from a place of brokenness. And only you and I know for ourselves the difference. One of my doctors passed away this week, and I feel so grateful and blessed that I got to have him in my life for 2 years. And one of the things that I learned that I didn't know is that he had an incredible awareness of service. The way he served his patients is almost unheard of anymore. I mean, he'd call me every week to see how I was doing. Who does that, right? Not many. But what I learned yesterday is that and I can't speak for him, but he served in such an extreme way that he neglected himself. He didn't take care of himself. He didn't eat well, he didn't exercise, he didn't go outside, he was just always doing research and always thinking about his patients. Now, did he live a beautiful life and heal people and had a great service? Absolutely. But we also know how important it is that we serve from a place of fullness, because otherwise it harms us, right? So being curious, being of service, and then being grateful. You and I got to incarnate. We got to incarnate as a human being. Our soul was so evolved that it decided it wanted to come as this. That is a miracle. It invites us to not only see life in such a miraculous way, but to realize how miraculous we are as human incarnations. And so we can afford to play small in any way, shape, or form, right? We have to question it. So the journal, how fun is this picture? The first picture, some of you have the journal, right? The first picture in February. Curiosity as a superpower. It has a quote by Plutarch. Is that how you say his name? The mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be kindled. So kindle that fire that is already in you and let it burn away whatever doesn't serve you. The other quote here I like is on page 20 from Ernest Holmes. Fear arises from that mental attitude which limits the possibility and the willingness of spirit to give us the good we so greatly desire. So Laurie, when you were saying that fear can get in the way, it can be a messenger. It can show us how we are disconnected from what wants to be lived in a more open-hearted, trusting, and curious way. So we have our work cut out for us, don't we? So we're going to have some music, and then Laurie will share a guided meditation for us to actually experience the embodiment of what I talked about.
So here is, that last song was a cover, this one's going to be an original that I wrote with a friend. So many try. I wanna realize what I have inside, that I've forgotten through all the lies. Lord, show me the way, the path that you will pave, through all your love and everlasting grace. Give me faith to transform my faith from a place of quiet sadness to a loving embrace. open up my eyes to reach higher heights, to break through the bounds that's kept me tied down. I feel the power of love that you were sent from up above. I feel the power of love that you were sent from up above. Reaching out my hand, I wanna join the stance. Won't you teach me how to be a better man? Following your ways to clear up all this haze. Make way for tomorrow to be a better day. Give me the faith to transform my fate from a place of quiet sadness to a loving embrace. Open up my eyes to reach higher heights, to break through the bounds that's kept me tied down. I feel the power of love that you sent from up above. I feel the power of love that you sent from up above. It repeats, you can sing along. Power of your love that you sent from up above. I feel the power of your love that you sent from up above. Come on. I feel the power of your love that you sent from up above. I feel the power of your love that you sent from up above. One more. The power of your love that you sent from up above. I feel the power of your love that you sent from up above.
And that was the amazing Grayson Nierenberg. So beautiful. Good morning. I'm Lori Carlson. I'm a practitioner here at the center, for those of you who don't know me. And I'm curious, what did you hear in Reverend Frankie's talk that really resonated with you? I know there was a lot that resonated with me. I know that when I am curious, I am less judgmental. And I know that when I am less judgmental, my heart opens and my mind opens, and I am willing to have a new and different experience of both people and places and things and everything, right? So judgment keeps us stuck, but curiosity gets rid of judgment. Curiosity lets us say, why? I wonder why she's wearing that. Not, I don't like that. I wonder how that outfit makes her feel. I wonder if there's something emotionally significant about that color for that person. Curiosity allows us to open to our own better, wholer nature, the God within each of us, and see that within each other. And so I'm going to invite you to appreciate that curiosity is a muscle, right? It's a practice. It's something that came naturally to us as children, as Reverend Frankie was talking about, but in our adult lives, we have forgotten to be curious. So I'm going to invite you to join me in a little meditative practice to try to awaken some curiosity, some childhood, however you want to say it, curiosity about things that we can then bring out and apply into our daily interactions and our daily lives. Okay? So, I invite you, if you're comfortable, to close your eyes and to come with me. So, as we walked in to the center this morning, we traveled a path, and on that path there were stones. Bring the image of a stone into your mind and get curious about it. What does it look like? What does it remind you of? Where did it come from? How long has it been sitting there? How many people have noticed this rock before you? And how many people have walked right by without noticing it? And what is something creative you might be able to do with that rock if you picked it up? Be curious about the things around you. From a simple rock to a passing car. Be curious about what the experience is for others. And that is an expansive feeling. It grows everything as you become curious about it. It grows your understanding. It grows your perspective. So bring that curiosity into every aspect of your life. And now I invite you to bring that curiosity to yourself. Think of something you don't like. Make it simple. Make it a food you don't like. And now get curious about why you don't like it. Is it really the taste? Or maybe it's the smell. Or maybe it's the texture. Or maybe it's an association with something from your childhood. Or a bad incident you had with that particular food. Just get curious about what it is and why you don't like it. And maybe it will be easier for you to drop that judgment. And you can apply this to everything in your life, not just a food you don't like, but what about an idea you have? Can you get curious about why you have that idea? I have an idea that I'm always late. So can I get curious about where that comes from? Is that really my idea? Or is that an idea imposed upon me from society? Or is that something my parents told me? Just question your ideas. Get curious about where they come from and what they mean and whether they're truly even yours. It opens all sorts of vistas when you ask questions, when you ask the right questions, with open-mindedness and curiosity, and allow yourself to hear the answer that might be different from the answer that you're anticipating, from the answer that you're expecting. As Reverend Frankie was talking about always knowing more, I heard a great definition of curiosity, knowing that the more I know, the more there is to learn. There is always something more to learn about the world around you, about yourself, and especially about other people. And so now I invite you to bring that curiosity into your interactions with others. See someone else, and like I said before, be curious about why they're wearing what they're wearing. If they have a particular speech phrase or something they say often, be curious about why. Ask yourself, I wonder where that comes from. What's the etymology of that phrase in their experience? Be curious about what someone else feels. Be curious knowing you can never stand in their shoes, but you can try. you can be open to experiencing a greater expression of them by being questioning, non-judgmental, and open to hearing. And so I'm going to give you a little challenge here, or a little homework assignment, and that is to bring into your awareness someone with whom perhaps you struggle a little. And now think of a question that you can ask them that perhaps you've never really asked them before. Not something intrusive, but something that is curious, that shows genuine care, that shows that you want to hear what they have to say. And I challenge you to ask that question today, or in the near future, if not today, and to really listen to what it is that that person says. To listen without judgment. To listen from a place where their answer just inspires you to ask another question. As Reverend Frankie said to me earlier, her favorite few words are, "Tell me more." So today, approach others with that attitude of "Tell me more." And try to become someone who asks more questions than gives the answers. Ask others questions so they can find their own answers. Try to spark curiosity in others by your own curiosity in them. And what a gift that is. What a gift it is to give someone your curiosity and allow them to feel seen and heard and know that someone is interested in them and in what they think and in their experience and in how they feel. That is the ultimate gift you can give someone. And you can do that by gently being curious about them. So, from this expanded consciousness of curiosity that allows us to see everything from a greater perspective of wanting to know more and knowing that there's always more to learn. Let it open your heart. Feel that expansive awareness of love that is at the heart of who and what we are, and where our curiosity will always bring us back to if we let it. And so invite your curiosity to lead you today, and be amazed at where it will bring you. And when you're ready, open your eyes and bring your attention back into the room and see each other with the curious eyes of a child, knowing that we are each love incarnate. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Laurie. I love that. I felt so nourished. So there's a couple of things I want you to know about. And one is that I started a new class in January. It's once a month. And then another time, 2 weeks later, where we just have an open discussion on Zoom. And it's based on the work of Emma Curtis Hopkins. Today is the very last day that anyone can register. Because if you're registering today, I need to catch you up a little bit before we meet on Tuesday. And this is a class that we do online. Those of you who are here, all the flyers are over there, so go take a look if you want to know more. If you are on our email list, you would have received this every week for a long time. And if you're not on our email list, please sign our guest book if you're here, or shoot us an email if you're online and you want to be on our email list. We have an art journaling workshop. I realize it doesn't say that I'm giving the workshop. After many years of creating flyers, I still forget things. So I do this thing called art journaling, which is like a vision board, but it's in the form of a book. And we have that workshop here in person 2 weeks from today from 1 to 3 p.m. And I will bring all the supplies, but you can bring some of your own favorite things as well. And I will communicate that with anybody that signs up. And hot off the press, our beloved Cat Roman will be offering another sound bath. That is the end of March, the last Sunday in March, so grab that flyer. Those of you who are here, if you know anyone that lives in the Randolph-Rockaway area, we have a guest that doesn't drive anymore, Marion. So if anybody says, I'll pick her up once in a while, let me know and I'll hook you up. Also, we deeply, deeply, deeply need somebody who can help us with our IT, our internet technology process. So if you know anyone or it's a gift or a talent you have, let me know. I'll hook you up with that as well. So one of the things that I want you to know is that we're so grateful that we get to be here. There are some communities and churches that didn't make it through COVID. You probably all know some. We're still here, and that's because of the beautiful work our leadership council is doing, and it's because you're here and because of your generosity. So we are preparing for our annual meeting, which will be the end of April, and so we're reviewing our finances. In order for us to be here, it costs us $100 per person per week. Some of you give more. Some of you give less, some of you give nothing. Some of you volunteer and serve, and we're grateful for all of it. But I just want you to be aware that in order to be here and to be sustainable, we need your support. And I know that you give what you can. There's no pressure, no shame, no judgment, no criticism, but just ask yourself, am I doing my part to the best of my ability? And see if you can increase your giving to support this beautiful community. Thankfully, we have some money in the bank from the sale of our building, but it was never our intention to use that. So just consider your giving, your generosity, your service to the community, which helps us as well, and your devotion. And maybe you have some great ideas for us to raise that up, whether it's treating for our abundance, or knowing organizations that offer grants, whatever ideas you have, you're all incredibly brilliant. So today you can give via our website in the back, text to give, there's all kinds of ways, it's all on the sheet in the back, and so we invite that consideration. And now, Lori will bless us with a healing closing treatment, and then Grayson will bless us with another song.
I'm always happy to have you. So, once again, I invite you to close your eyes if you're comfortable doing so, and to hear these words as if they were your own. I know that there is one power, one presence, one life, one divine creative source of all that is, the Alpha and the Omega, that which beats my heart and breathes my breath, and is present in each moment and in each one. I know that this creative force lives in me, as me, and through me, as it does in each one here, as it does in each one anywhere. We are each just unique expressions of this one creative and ever-curious mind. And so I know, right here and right now, that we are blessed by this knowing, that there is a curiosity within each one of us that allows us to step forth into this day with a greater expression of the spirit that we are, that we become love in action in ways unseen, because we curiously explore new expressions and new ways to look at the world. I know that this is the truth of who and what we are, and that as a spiritual community, our abundance is assured because we are love in action. We are curious enough to find new ways and new pathways of finances and well-being and creativity and joy. And I acknowledge and affirm that this is who and what we are as a community, as individuals, and as expressions of spirit. And so with gratitude, with extreme gratitude for knowing this truth, for being a part of this beautiful and vibrant community, for each one of you, I say thank you with a full heart. And I release this word into an ever-present and loving law that can only say yes, knowing that as I think it, speak it, and do truly believe, so it must be. And I invite you to join me in saying,
And
so
it
it
is.
Grayson.
In this journey of life, we may not choose our roads, but we work towards our destination. Things I thought weren't right, able to give me inspiration. I know it's gonna be alright when we look within. I know we're gonna be just fine when we're stretched so thin. 'Cause everybody's looking for the one that they need, but everybody's missing it, you're the one you need. Gotta find yourself and you gotta love yourself. Oh, is the time that's passing or am I just flying by? I wanna make it past my time to say goodbye. All I know is that I just wanna cry. Can't help this feeling I won't make it through the night. Gotta relax or I'm losing my mind. Take some deep breaths and have a bottle of wine. Take out your pick and just keep strumming these chords. You know I sing for you, not just to keep me from getting bored. Looking for the strength to come out from within. Now I have so much more that I can give. Don't wanna keep it inside anymore. I don't want it to fade away. I know it's gonna be alright when we look within. I know it's gonna be just fine when we get stressed so thin. I know we will be alright. I know we will be just fine. Time is passing and I'm getting old. My friends say communication slow. I'm feeling lonely and it's getting cold. I just want somebody who can heal my soul, but it keeps me up, I'm losing track of time. I'm reminiscing all the old goodbyes. Ain't nobody that can heal my soul, 'cause when I'm all by myself I got a heart of gold. Oh, I got a heart of gold, a heart of gold. I've got a heart of gold, heart of gold. This journey will